I am so excited to announce that it is officially the day after my favorite day of the year. Not excited in the sense of I'm happy, but excited in the holy fuck I am gonna die way. December 26th might actually be the most cursed day of the year. Not because it's Boxing Day, no sir, but simply because today is Harvester Day. Since none of you know what that is, allow me to elaborate. Harvester Day is a special day where I am forced to gift someone on my Steam friends list the 1996 point-and-click cult classic Harvester. The keyword there is forced. See, Harvester isn't a normal game. Harvester isn't a game at all. Harvester is Harvester, and as Harvester it enters into our world masquerading as a horror game. That's the weird part. There are just these kinds of games that are similar to it in that vague, unexplainable way. They're things that exist solely off of their own mystery and obscurity, or they're just really fucking bad one way or another. These kinds of titles are ones I hope to cover on a yearly basis whenever the 26th of December comes around, not to entice people to play them, but instead to banish them from this world and destroy their mystique by dragging them into the light and exposing everything about them. Some of these games I love, and some of these games I truly hate, but only one of them am I genuinely afraid of. This is Harvester. 残酷な天使のように少年よ神話になれ 知らない痛いけな瞳だけどいつか気づくでしょうその背中には遥か未来目指すための羽があること残酷な天使の手で窓辺からやがて飛び立つ This video is going to be strange. The only way to truly combat Harvester is to out-Harvester Harvester, and I honestly don't know what I think about Harvester, so putting that into words is, kind of impossible. But, for those of us who are still attempting to approach this thing like it's a game, I'll give a brief overview of the story to get us started. Harvester tells the story of Steve Mason, a man who wakes up and discovers that he has amnesia. So far so good, we're on the track, this is a fairly normal setup for a horror game. I see you, Harvester, trying to keep up that facade, you silly fucking goose. After confronting a woman claiming to be his mother and a shithead who is supposed to be his little brother, he learns that this is the Midwest town of Harvest. He soon goes to a neighbor's home, and it doesn't take him long to do the entire once-in-a-lifetime by figuring out that this is in fact not his beautiful house, and this is not his beautiful wife. This girl's name's Stephanie, and she's pretty much in the same situation that Steve is. So from here, Steve attempts to join a shadowy organization known as the Order of the Harvest Moon, or just simply the Lodge. In all honesty, Steve doesn't really have anything making him join the Lodge. He has no real personal stake in it. He just does so more out of pure, undiluted peer pressure.
She's not the only one who wants me to sign on with the Lodge.
That's probably the worst thing you could do.
You think the Lodge is some kind of trap?
I think all of Harvest is a trap.
If that's true, maybe joining the Lodge is the way out.
Lodge initiation begins simple enough with just filling out and submitting an application form, but as the days progress, the tasks get crueler and crueler as the town of Harvest begins to crumble around Steve. This is a really interesting premise to go off of. Amnesia is an overused plot device, but the plot of Harvester facilitates it in a really fun way. Day 1 is especially notable as you acquaint yourself with the citizens of Harvest and try to peel back the mystery of what exactly is happening here. On Day 1, you also discover that you have the ability to punch anybody at any time whenever you fucking feel like it. Here, I'll try it out right now. What do you say, male kid? Oh my. We really are in the Midwest. This is something that Harvester is notorious for. At the time, it claimed to be the most violent game ever made, and I gotta say, for 1996, they really brought it. Something about the gore in Harvester is so odd because it is so obviously fake and silly, but something about its atmosphere just makes you want to look away. I think I'd compare it to watching something like the guinea pig movies, where you can tell that this is all obviously fake, unless you're Charlie Sheen, but it's more so the subject matter and the circumstance of the gore that's disturbing you, and less the gore itself. You could honestly write whole thesis papers about the blood and guts and gore of Harvester, but we'll get to that later. For now, that's not really what Harvester Day is about. Pat, play the fucking death reel!
What's happening here? Have y'all lost your minds?
See, this is what I mean when I say that Harvester is less so a game and more so a thing. It's like a playable cryptid, but not in the creepypasta way, more in the mystery of the druids way. It's this experience that doesn't feel good or bad, it just feels wrong. Okay, so take for example the barbershop, right? We talk to my boys Clem and Pete, and they're just hanging and banging as good old boys do, but something about talking to them makes me feel like I'm in the Black Lodge from Twin Peaks. No, not because of that. That's sexist and you know it. Harvester is an entity that oozes the foulest, stinkiest vibes. I think comparing it to Mystery of the Druids is apt because they both hit this weird level of, are you actively doing something interesting or did you just stumble into that? To convey what I mean, I gotta spoil the ending, so if you care about Harvester spoilers, go fuck yourself. So, Harvest is a virtual reality simulator meant to breed serial killers, and Steve is the subject. This is actually a really fun twist, and retroactively makes the game say something about how American society and the idealization of the Eisenhower era breeds an innate psychopathy in people who feel on the fringes of such exclusionary society. It shines a light on just how barbaric this period of time could be, and how rose-colored glasses could hide even the most depraved aspects of the day. This concept is something that would be undertaken 1 year later with the release of Fallout, and from there, shitting on the 50s has become a favorite pastime of everyone under 40. It's kind of funny that the way to make someone go crazy is to stick them in the good old days. I just love how Harvester takes this bright and cheery backdrop and tears it to shreds using everything from the types of television programming that was popular, to the disciplinary actions in the education system, to the rampant xenophobia that we still feel to this day. I say this, but then you look at something like The Firehouse and go, alright, who's fucking with me? I don't understand what this is supposed to convey. Is this oh, the 50s were super homophobic? Or is it, fucking laugh because they're gay and they're firemen, you fucking fell for it, dumbass. I don't get it. Am I not in on the joke? Harvester, let me in on your joke! See, I just can't fucking focus when it comes to Harvester. This is why I created my own holiday for this godforsaken thing. Not to celebrate it, but to quarantine it. I apologize for not having a good approach to this, but like, what the fuck do you want me to say? Everything I can say in favor of it, I can throw an equal amount of question marks at it. I guess I can talk about the puzzles since it wears the skin of a point and click, but like, you already know what I'm gonna fucking say about it. Your main puzzles are simply figuring out how to complete your daily objective, and that normally involves moon logic to solve. Think Monkey Island, but put through the filter of Visitor Q. But then again, this game is meant to make you feel like you're fucking losing it, so is this super clever or not? I don't know. The range of things you're meant to do is also just so out there. Like, day 1, sign a paper and hand it in, got it. Day 2, scratch a guy's car, shit, I do that in my sleep. Day 3, save a girl from being buried alive by your obese father-in-law. Why? What? I didn't fucking know. After that, you break into the fire department and just steal some fabric, but like, how? What? Who the fuck can help me with something like that? Oh, hi, Dad. See, I can't talk about anything without it just becoming me rambling about how Harvester is just wrong. I don't really know what to say about Harvester because, frankly, I don't think it wants me to say anything about it. But that would be letting this piece of shit win. So let's talk about something I know I can actually dissect. We must discuss him. Steve is the epicenter of that Harvester orbits around. Very few protagonists in fiction are as unlikable and just honest-to-God head-scratch-inducing as Steve is. The game portrays Steve as the classic stranger in a strange land, but unlike that character archetype, he doesn't change. Like, he starts the game as a confused douchebag and just ends the game as a douchebag. When all's said and done, Steve hits this level of absolute creature that he's kind of endearing. All adventure game protagonists tend to be some level of scumbag, but they normally have a twist to their character that makes me like them. My favorite example of this is found in Grim Fandango's Manny Calavera. Manny begins the game as a disgruntled low-level bureaucrat working in the land of the dead. He tries to do his best, but isn't afraid of employing underhanded tactics to get what he wants. But over the course of the game, we watch as he attempts to repent for his mistakes and right his wrongs as we see 4 distinct versions of Manny during the different points we check in over his journey. As for Steve, we get 6 days with him and he does not stop being a fucking cunt for a single second. But like I said, even though he's horribly unlikable, that doesn't mean I don't find him entertaining. So many times during our playthrough, my friends and I were dying at some of the weird shit Steve would say, or just how out there the shit he did was. We've compiled these moments in what I hope will become an annual tradition. That's right, it's time for the Harvester Day Steve Mason Memorial Cringe Compilation. Patrick, roll the footage.
I don't mean to, bug you, but I can't seem to remember anything. Will you please just tell me who you are?
Mom, Steve is bugging me. Steve, leave Hank alone right now.
You're cringe!
Office.
Yeah, I know, Mr.
McKnight. I own and operate this station. Have you brought me some news for tonight's broadcast, or...
I've lost my memory. That's news.
The hell it is! You always were a kidder, Steve.
You're cringe!
Never heard of anyone pulling their own spinal cord out before. Off the record, I'd have to say no. No, all in all, I'd say this was death by natural causes.
Natural causes?
You're cringe!
What is the real world at this point?
This should be engraved on my fucking tombstone. Come on, everyone, let's point and laugh at the big man and call him cringe.
So what will it be? Life in harvest, or life as a harvester?
Steve, don't do this, please. No, please, somebody help.
Steve is cringe! This goes for pretty much the entire cast, but I don't feel like forcing Patrick to make a cringe compilation for every character, but I do want to bring particular focus to Mr. Potsdam, and I do actually have a fan cam prepared, so if we could roll the Pots cam right now, Pat. God, I love him. I've spent a decent amount of time rightfully focusing on Steve's awfulness, but similar to Drakengard or Chainsaw Man, yeah, fucking $10 if you expected those references. Every character is either crazy or just a scumbag, or in most cases both, but they're memorable. They really stick with you because of how fucking horrendous they all are. So that leaves me torn. Do I enjoy this because the cast is unique and memorable, or do I hate this because everyone is honestly really fucking annoying and you're basically just playing a gaslighting simulator? Okay, so thus far we have been really directionless, but I think I can attempt to tie this all together by simply asking, why is Harvester? Well, from the outset, I feel as though Harvester is a satirical look at the trend of blaming media violence for IRL violence. This is obviously a fictitious and fringe thought process, but at the time in 1996, it was a widely held belief by those in the higher courts of the land. There are many different stories and fringe weirdos that you can talk about, like Jack Thompson, but one of the most famous is the case of Mortal Kombat leading to the direct implementation of the ESRB in 1994, only 2 years before the release of Harvester. I also feel as though the setting of Harvester lends credence to this topic, as it takes the 1950s and uses it to almost poke fun at the moralizing, sensationalist media of the 90s. News outlets would decry the likes of Doom, but would air hours upon hours of the O.J. Simpson trial. Harvester is basically saying that whatever way you see it, people crave violence. So what's worse, pretending you're better than others while indulging in acceptable cruelty, or just being honest with everyone and reveling in the absurd? Harvester lives in that absurdity, or maybe it invented that niche just for itself so that its legacy could live on past its own shelf life. Within 3 years' time, the Columbine Massacre would spark the discussion in full yet again, so Harvester was ahead of the curve in showing the absurdity of this straw man argument. There was simply no winning here. People died and other people wanted to blame toys in movies instead of holding the system and those close to the killers accountable, because in the grand scheme of things, it's a more comfortable reality to believe that a video game made someone kill people as opposed to examining what actually drove that person to committing murder, and furthermore, how it might have been prevented. People found solace in shirking the blame onto an inhuman scapegoat, because if they didn't, then they would have to bear the weight of corpses on their shoulders. Media doesn't create killers despite what lobbyists and moralizing weirdos believe. Media shapes perception and conveys the ideas of artists to a receiving audience, and is a universal communicator. Even if I'm still not convinced Harvester is a video game, I can't deny that it remains as a piece of art that exists to say something, and even if it's found in an obtuse and honestly really shitty way, the message was still received in full. You know, it felt really good to actually come down on something I genuinely appreciate about Harvester. The idea of this holiday is to strip these kinds of games of their mystery and really show people what's cooking under the hood. and here I was thinking that Harvester was some infinite nightmare artifact. What a stupid notion. I'm no better than those fucking idiots who believe that Doom made someone kill someone. It's just a game with a weird presentation. It was art made by a person, made for other people, and it's nothing more and nothing less. Oh, fuck. I'm gonna be real with you, team. I don't think Harvester was actually meant to be analyzed. You know, come to think of it, I remember coming up with this video around March of this year, so I actually think that Harvester, and by extension this video, willed every bad thing that has happened after that point into existence. Which means that this is all my fault, which also means that I gotta fix it. Okay, think, Michael, think. How did this all start? Okay, well, I proved something as fucking stupid as Harvester held some meaning and should exist uninhibited, so what should I do? I got it. I just have to prove that Harvester isn't real beyond a shadow of a doubt. Okay, so Harvester is not a game released in 1996 starring a future pedophile, and is not released solely to piss off parental activist groups. Did it work? No, it's still a full Steve out there. Well, then this is like a nightmare or VR thing, right? Okay, so I just have to wake up for it, because, you know, I tend to structure my videos around what the game I'm talking about is. So it's a VR thing. Got it. Wake up. Okay. Wake up. 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 Wake the fuck up.
Oh god, I just had the most awful dream. I was uploading monthly and talked about some fucking kids movie, a DS Suda game, and a stupid point and click no one cares about. Also, I think I was addicted to League of Legends. Ugh, I gotta lay off the maple syrup before bedtime. Well, that isn't gonna stop me from enjoying the most sacred of Canada's yearly celebrations. Boxing Day.
Holy shit. Okay, I think this is going too deep. I really need to find a way to fucking stop this. Okay, so I think this might work. So, Harvester Day only works during the year in which was brought onto the world. So, all that means is I have to kill this year for my channel by collapsing it into itself in a montage format, and then subsequently ending this video to lock Harvester away for at least another year. So, I don't think I have much time to say this, but I just want to say it's been an absolute hell of a ride, and I thank you so much for joining me over these last 12 months. I hope you all have a safe and happy New Year's, and I'll see you in a all-new Harvesterless year of 2021, I hope, and in our first video, we'll be revisiting the town that started it all. So with limited time left, my name is Michael, and oh god, Steve, no! Oh, I gotta go. I always find it amazing how Silent Hill games can have just that one scene that always gets to me, and the quiet pain of this short drive just rips my heart out every single time. You can pay for a great performance, and you can write all the funny jokes you want half-heartedly, but for someone to truly express the love they have for something through their art, that is simply impossible to fake.
Slink out into the night, never to talk to her again. That's right. IS. Separate entirely.
Oh yeah. The year was hitting its stride at the time, and anime fighters were entering their renaissance. But that don't sell around here in America, you heard? And that's not important to our story. And they speak in high grandeur about these people and their silly little games. But despite how silly they may be, these things have meaning because life has meaning. And conversely, their games are beautiful. So that only means that life is beautiful as well. Despite losing pieces of his old self, he's still Legoshi. His memories, his friends, his heart are all still there. But the pieces that hold that all together are just improved. But improved at a Blood price. Is drawn in a very vivid and eye-popping manner. I'm sorry, it was too easy. This is how I get my kicks.
It's me. We have our member.
Except for the MVP, my boy, Kelsey Grammer, back at it with the HMS Pinafore Jams because, like I said before, he's a fucking professional. He came to work.
You'd absolutely subscribe to his OnlyFans.
Yeah, no, I want to explore Neil Breen's films, and I want to explore his grundle.
They want you to know that you're important despite what you think.
So much so, in fact, that the answers to the first and last puzzles of Flower, Sun, and Rain aren't cryptic nonsense found in your guidebook. It's just asking you what your birthday is because the game cared enough to remember. You gotta keep your chin up, eyes forward, focus on the future, while using the past
Dear
as a
colleague,
learning tool.
by some happy coincidence, I managed to get my hands on a certain vessel that I believe I can recover the pathogen from, which means we're all set to research the vaccine. But odd as it may sound, I'd rather avoid tapping into that source I mentioned. Unless
if you happen to be a British viewer, then I'm sorry, but some crimes just can't be forgiven. Regardless, Knights is no different. You boot it up, start a new file, watch the intro, and boom, you join the Air Force. Shit, not again! A major critique of modern games is that